Hey, people in the Metaverse, we're back with PodFest Metaverse. I'm super excited because coming right up in under 1 minute, live interview with Dan Burgar, co-founder at Shape, also the president at Vancouver VR AR Association. So without further ado, let me just do a short introduction to my good friend from Vancouver, Canada. He's a leader in virtual and augmented reality, and he focuses on democratizing the technology to change the world. Dan is the co-founder at Shape, building 3D, VR, AR for top brands, and also the president at Vancouver VR AR Association, building and growing Vancouver into one of the top VR AR ecosystems in the world. He's also advisor to creators and startup leaders and a contributor to publications like TechCrunch. So without further ado, let's bring him on to our virtual podcasting studio. How are you, my friend?
Good. How are you, Wayne?
I'm fantastic. I'm just super excited because you're on the show. It's although it's 2:03 a.m., but I'm also super excited because I'm staying up for Euro 2020. Spain versus Italy. You're a football fan, by the way.
It worked out perfectly.
You chose the best time slot, so I think the timing is impeccable. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for coming on. So let's get cracking because I prepped so many questions for you tonight, this morning, or wherever you are in different time zones. And let's start with your career journey. I think it's a question that I love asking every guest that comes on to this show. Of course, before we get to hear your stories about how you got started in 3D, AR, VR, I think it's probably something related to like a cleaning demo that you experienced in the conference in Barcelona that I heard about from an earlier podcast taping while prepping for this show, of course. We definitely want to know how 3D, AR, VR changed your life. So, Dan, what's your career story? Talk to our audience in Asia about so many different passions, and of course, juggling so many different hats as well. I know that you're a film music geek, and you have experience in marketing, and you're an experienced designer, you're an entrepreneur, you're a VR AR tech leader, you're a board advisor. So how has the journey been so far for you? Over to you, my friend.
It's been incredible. It's been nuts. I wear so many hats, and maybe I should start focusing on a specific thing. But I was... This is back in 2014. I was working at an innovation company. We were doing a lot of technology for companies like Lululemon, Verizon, and big enterprise companies. And they sent me to Mobile World Congress in Spain, and I passed by this booth, and there was a VR headset there, and I didn't see one before in my life, and I was very curious and just threw it on, and it was this cleaning demo, and it was just this I look back on it now as very archaic, just super old school, clunky. And it was like at that moment, it inspired me. That light bulb within my head just kind of lit up, and I was just like, wow, this is going to change the world. So I decided to kind of go back to my bosses back at the innovation studio and pitch them the idea on building a VR application at that time. And it was back in 2014, so it was super early. And ultimately it failed because there just wasn't that adoption. And we were selling it to real estate developers. And in Vancouver, real estate sells itself. So you don't need marketing or these kind of technology solutions to really help sell their products, because they just list it and it sells itself. So it failed miserably. But at that point, I decided to find a VR AR company in Vancouver to see how I can kind of go all in on this, because I was still really excited about the technology. And then that's when I found a company called Archiact, and they were positioned as a VR gaming company, and they became one of the bigger VR AR companies in the world at that time. And basically what I told them is, VR and AR will change the business side of things. So I really helped kind of strategize how they were going to tackle kind of the enterprise brands and kind of the business world with VR and AR. And that's kind of how I got thrust into this industry. And within kind of a couple of years doing that, I realized that this community was pretty small. In Vancouver, it was actually starting to burgeon. At that time, there was only 5 companies, and kind of within a short amount of time, 230 within a few years. So you could see kind of the background of what was happening in the Vancouver industry within VR and AR, and then I decided, this is something I needed to do to support the community and not just look at any one company and building that out. I realized that you needed to kind of build out the industry as well. So that's kind of how I got there.
Fantastic journey, fantastic story. I love how you were not shy to mention that you failed, to introduce such a early technology, right, to the industries that your clientele base at that time, and you're someone that already that I feel from just hearing you talk for the past couple of minutes that you always follow your curiosity, right, over probably other things like even metrics, goals, spreadsheets, whatever. You do many things, and you're an early adopter because you're genuinely interested in them, right? So I take my hats off you, of course, and of course you inspire us, because you built such a huge community that is has now grown to 230 companies, like what you mentioned just now. So my next question for you, can you maybe talk to us about how VR AR will change the way we communicate, change the way that we learn, and even change the way that we live? So is this what inspired you every day to continue down this path? And why do you think that the metaverse is already here?
Yeah, I mean, over the 7 years, it's been quite a journey. A lot of ups and downs, especially since we're really kind of building this technology from the ground up, right? And with any new technology, it takes time, and I think that's where a lot of people don't really understand. This technology is at the precipice. It's going to change the world. It's going to be in everyone's kind of faces, essentially, especially when Apple starts to build their products or starts to release their products to the consumer. I think that will change the way we communicate. It'll change the way we do business. It'll change the way we train. And it's already happening. All the building blocks are there. And I'm seeing a ton of incredible use cases within medical. There's a great company called Precision OS who are doing this training for surgical, for orthopedic surgeons. And it's a tool that they're using that they can get those reps in to be able to understand kind of every movement of surgery. And we're seeing this in training in schools and so many different industries. It's like what I call it is horizontal technology. It'll hit every single industry. It'll hit everyone at some point in time, and very soon. People think it's more of a 5 to 10 year type of technology. I think it'll be sooner than that. I think it'll be 3 to 5 years where we'll see this mass adoption. We'll see this part of our daily lives.
Since you are very, much involved, also building like all this experience design work with your clientele base, right? Through your involvement, and in fact, you founded the company called Shape in Immersive, which is our next question for you later on. Do you think that many brands today, they are, digital first by first, like building their identity online before building an actual product, and they persist with like even digital personas or even content, and then they expand in products that connect with consumers digitally. So those that will thrive, like you mentioned about different verticals, right? The medical field, the real estate, across the board, just across all industries, those that really understand online culture, even maybe like digital art or even gaming experience, they will actually thrive in this metaverse that we are already experiencing right now. And embracing the metaverse is actually an opportunity to expand these brands' in terms of like what they do and how they do it, right? Maybe can you share some experiences, with us, how certain brands are able to really leverage on what's happening in the metaverse right now?
Yeah, and to kind of go back to your earlier question, I think the metaverse is here. There are many metaverses, and in the future, it's going to be kind of like how everyone framed up the internet back in the early days of this, the super highway, essentially. I think that's what it's going to look like. Every brand is going to have their own metaverse, and there'll be millions of metaverses where you can just tap into and put on your headset and jump into, or sell your products within that metaverse. And that's where I see a lot of synergies within the NFT space, where we're kind of tapping into. I know you're going to kind of ask that question probably a bit later on. I don't want to kind of dive into that now, but I definitely think brands and especially retailers are understanding that this is something that we need to be doing. We can't be selling 2D objects of our products. You just don't have that relationship with that. You need to see it in 3D, in this kind of lifelike hologram. And that's kind of the ethos of where Shape came from. We focused really on the retail e-commerce side, but it really blossomed into helping brands just integrate into the metaverse and how to showcase different products or content within the 3D metaverse. So it's been really exciting to see, and I think every single company will need to be a part of the metaverse very soon.
Very well said, my friend. And we definitely also need to talk about NFTs, and maybe not so much on blockchain. We know that this year seems to be the year that NFTs became a commodity, right? I have another podcast here called the NFT Asia podcast. So for listeners who are unfamiliar with NFTs, this stands for non-fungible token, of course, and they're one-of-a-kind blockchain-based assets that live on a blockchain. So CryptoPunks and CryptoKitties were like the first NFTs that were launched in 2017, right? And since then, artists, YouTubers, even actors and brands, and even AIs have created their own NFTs. So they went from being a really odd, misunderstood commodity to still somewhat misunderstood but highly valued commodity. So it's not uncommon to like wake up every day and read about new groundbreaking initiatives. Like I think Space Force recently partnered with digital artist companies to release their own NFTs with AR. So why do you think that integrating blockchain and NFTs is not just a fad, but an integral part of 3D and AR, VR?
Yeah, it's going to be so important. We actually did that Star Atlas project with the Armstrong project for SpaceX, and it was incredible. And it really helps with demand generation. So you're able to, going back to the 2D, 3D conversation, you're able to showcase whatever those digital pieces of artwork in a 3D image or a 3D hologram. And what better way to kind of showcase your art through that? And then, imagine seeing that piece of art within a VR, like throwing on your VR headset and going through your own museum of your digital goods. So I think that's just that natural symbiosis within, creative content or products. And it's really interesting to see how quickly this has happened. And, we've been seeing this with the work that we're doing with Artifact, the work that we're doing with Star Atlas and other NFT companies. They're jumping all in on how using AR can really help, build that buzz within their products or artworks. So I think that is going to turn into a big part of our business moving forward, which we never expected. Last year, we were solely focused on brands and enterprises and retailers, and now a lot of our clients have kind of been those NFT companies that are rapidly scaling.
This is fantastic, yeah, and of course, I'm looking at your website. You have such a brilliant and beautiful looking website where basically the tagline is shaping new worlds and virtual experiences powered by 3D, AR, and NFT. So you're helping to shape all these digital economies through all this convergence of technology like 3D, AR, NFTs, and commerce and e-commerce, right? So you are a 3D partner for so many companies out there. So this leads to my next question for you. Since we are also talking about like NFTs and blockchain earlier on, we definitely have to mention Vancouver-based company Dapper's Lab, which are the makers of NBA Top Shots and even Crypto Kitties that we mentioned earlier, and Flow as well, right? So it seems to be raining unicorns in Vancouver, British Columbia, also known as Silicon Valley North. So what's behind the sudden surge in British Columbia-based billion-dollar companies? I know there's Slack, Hootsuite. There are also companies that came out of Silicon Valley North, right?
Yeah, so it's this incredible soup of ingredients that have been here for quite a long time. So we have a strong visual effects, animation, and video games industry, and that really kind of bred into this 3D VR, AR ecosystem, which helped it kind of skyrocket into this massive ecosystem. And it's only continuing to grow from there. And then kind of zooming out of that and kind of looking at the tech ecosystem and the startup ecosystems, it's all converging right now. And we're seeing a ton of companies within these startup communities be able to scale. And now we've seen over 8 unicorns in 8 months, which is kind of a new thing for Vancouver. And we kind of look at this as the new frontier of technology in Vancouver. So we're seeing this kind of momentum behind AI, VR, AR, blockchain, crypto, and all these frontier technologies that are starting to take shape right now. And the cool thing is, we're breaking out of these silos and folks are working together. We're seeing a lot of synergies between various industries, and there's a lot of government support around that as well. So there's a lot of programs to kind of bring in talent, and companies actually want to set up in Vancouver now since we're starting to see that migration away from the Valley and into cities like Miami, Austin, and now Vancouver. And you look at Vancouver; it's such a beautiful city. It's in the mountains. You can go to the ocean within minutes, and you can go skiing within that same day. So it's got all the ingredients to become this world-class city. It already is, but I think it's going to be one of the top not only VR, AR ecosystems in the world. It's going to be one of the top tech ecosystems in the world.
Let's maybe pivot this conversation towards your home city, Vancouver. So does it have a really large Asian population? And how long have you been based in Vancouver?
Yeah, so I would say like 40 to 45% of people that live in Vancouver are of Asian descent. And it's really amazing, especially for the food. We have incredible Asian food here, and a mishmash of like Japanese, Chinese. We have Malaysian food, incredible Malaysian food. So that's been pretty incredible to see, especially as an Asian guy that kind of didn't really connect with my own culture in the past, and it was really kind of this culture shock to me coming from a small town called Fernie, BC, into Vancouver, and it's just wow. It was pretty incredible, and it's a great place for culture in general.
I think this is where we have a common bond. We're both Asians or Asian descent, right? So we definitely have the same love for Asian food. And of course, you mentioned all this great food that we can savor in your city, as well as over here in Singapore, where I'm based. I'm based in Asia, in Singapore. So this actually leads me to the next question for you, because you recently wrote a really heartbreaking but yet necessary article that would resonate with so many Asians, Asian Canadians, or even Asian Americans, and our identity, right? So could you maybe share with us how that article that you wrote transpired, and what were the reactions that you received, and were your goals or intention met when you decided to bear it all and basically talk about your background with such candor? Maybe tell our Asian audience here in Singapore and the rest of Asia as well how you came to terms being Asian.
Yeah, I kind of wrote that and wasn't sure if I was going to put it out to the world. I was very I've never been one to be super vulnerable, but I felt like it was something that I needed to do, especially with all the increase of Asian hate within North America, especially what we're seeing down in the US. It really got me to just brought this energy within me, this kind of I needed to step up. I needed to start speaking out because I just can't see this from the sidelines. I really have to, tell my story to be able to be an advocate for Asian people, especially those that are struggling. So I come from a small town called Fernie, BC, 5,000 people. And literally I was the only Asian person in that town. And I never saw anyone that looked like me, and had a really, really tough upbringing, tough childhood. And, I just really pushed back against being Asian. I remember thinking to myself, I like wishing to God or wishing to like anyone that, I could be white. And that kind of spread throughout my life. I always felt that way. And it was difficult to kind of be Asian because I looked at myself differently, and I was ashamed of it. Bringing friends back home to, have dinner with my family, I'd always be ashamed of the food. Now that I love the food and I'm connected to culture, I'm just like, what was I thinking? It was incredible. Why be ashamed of that? And I had to really kind of look at my life and really look within myself to kind of come to terms with it. And without going too deep into it, I'm sure folks can read the article, but I really went on this journey of self-realization and compassion, and really understanding kind of the root of why I was pushing back against being Asian. And growing up in that small town, I just never had anyone to kind of look up to that was Asian. And on TV back in the 80s and 90s, there was this kind of a stereotypical version of what Asian people were like, the nerdy math geek, or the Breakfast at Tiffany's, Mickey Rooney character, which is, you look at it today, it's like, wow, that was so racist. But and then I just I faced a lot of bullying and got beaten up a lot, and it wasn't so much like how like that affected my life. It was just more of that internal struggle that I faced every single day. And then going through that journey, it really helped me. I meditate. I've gone through therapy about it, and now I've really come to terms with who I am, not just as an Asian person, but as a person, who has compassion for myself. And I think that's the ethos and the impetus of why I wrote that article, is to help other Asian people who are struggling with their own identity to speak up and tell their story, and to not be ashamed. And that was really something that I really felt deeply that I needed to do, and I'm really glad I did. I put myself out there, but it was something that I was glad to do, because after I put it out, I had so many people who grew up in a similar situation as me say thank you, and tell me their own stories of their struggles, and not even just Asian people who were struggling, like gay people who were struggling with their identity, or people who just internally had this battle within themselves and that was pretty profound, and it was worth every word that I wrote because of the great feedback and other stories that I got to hear because of that, and it's really connected me to kind of telling that story.
I think you've done a superb job with the article, and you resonate with me right here in Singapore as well when I was reading the article, prepping for this episode, right? And I saw that, what you experienced or what you felt is not too dissimilar to how, someone from a Chinese race in Singapore, right, which is also an immigrant society, by the way. And, I had experiences when I was studying in Australia. And I remember attending a rock festival. I think it was called Big Day Out, and I was watching my bucket list bands, Rammstein, and at the drive-in perform on stage. And I remember, while waiting for the bands to appear, I was having a picnic with my friend, who's also Chinese, by the way, and we both studied at the same university. So we laid out our food, in a picnic, and lots of people were just passing by. The white kids, they were just taking away our food, and some of them were throwing back the food back on the floor and saying it's too cold and calling us names and things like that. So I think that was the first time I experienced, probably racism outside of my country. Although in Singapore, right, we because majority of Singaporeans are Chinese, so probably we don't have as much of those experience. But when I read your article, that brought back memories of that incident. So I think recently I also felt and I realized, probably the same sentiments that you felt as well when, I was working in Beijing for a crypto startup, I think around 3 years ago, probably. And I felt that I was always living in a bubble in Singapore until I left for China, and I worked there briefly in Beijing and in Shenzhen and Guangdong, where my forefathers were from, right? And then I realized that, to be able to speak that language and also to connect with people from China as well. And it actually made me feel that, I'm part of this Asian community as well. And it helped us to connect even more to our roots at the same time. So this is like our makeup, and it was, the common bond when working with colleagues in China, at the time, and probably optimizing my opportunity to also speak, Chinese language or Mandarin, more often, because in Singapore, most of us are speaking English, even though we are all from the Chinese race. So it's something that I want to maybe do more of, like doing a podcast, probably a Metaverse Asia podcast in the Chinese language in the future to be reconnect with our Asian roots.
That'd be incredible. And it's something I still need to do, is go back to the homeland and check out Korea. I've never been, and I hear it's an incredible city, and there's a lot of really cool technology happening over in Korea. So that's something I still need to do within my journey, and really that I think will kind of really connect me to the culture, because I'm still kind of understanding it and going back to the history of it. But until you really travel to a place and really get the grasp of the environment, that's really kind of the way to really embrace my culture.
This is fantastic. Tell us who or what has inspired you along the way. I know that you are a film and music geek like me. So, by the way, my all-time favorite industrial cyberpunk band is from Vancouver, Skinny Puppy. I'm sure whether you heard of them.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Skinny Puppy. I didn't know they were. Oh yeah, crazy! I didn't know they were from Vancouver, actually.
I grew up listening to them, from the late 80s until now. I'm still listening to them. And I'm really active in the Skinny Puppy Facebook group, by the way. So, we were even like organizing, a future trip to see Skinny Puppy play with Nine Inch Nails and Ministry and all these great bands, I think at Hellfest in France next year in 2022. So tell us, what's in your playlist? What inspires you? So it could be music, it could be films, it could be some tech founders. So maybe give us a few, who inspires you, and maybe it gives me a clue, like what kind of festivals is more appropriate to drag you along to next time, and maybe we can explore cities together in the future.
Yeah, I'm totally down, and yeah, I'm a huge film and music geek. Yeah, that's really my passion. It's funny because I work in technology and always look at the future, but I have this huge record collection here, and I really cherish that. So yeah, I love everything, every type of music, from like folk to jazz and some of the old stuff. Right now I'm listening to, what am I listening to? It's very eclectic, but I'm listening to a lot of Nina Simone. Got Nina Simone back here. She's one of my favorites, and yeah, I'm listening to a lot of.
Let me jump in with a suggestion. Neil Young.
Neil Young is yeah, he's great. He's a legend, yeah, for sure, and he's Canadian too, so you can't beat that. So, and then yeah, on the movie side, I'm really into more of the kind of art house kind of yeah, like French New Wave type of movies. And who inspires me? That's a good one. A lot of people inspire me. But I'm trying to think of one person. But yeah, I can't think of
someone from your VR AR community in Vancouver, or it could be someone in your startup scene or ecosystem over there in Canada.
Yeah, I think I take pieces of people that inspire me and kind of, you know, try to be the best person I can be. You know, people like, you know, people who give back to the world and people who are creative. So it's, you know, so many different types of people from like chefs. Actually, one person that sticks out is Anthony Bourdain. Like, I'm a big foodie, and he was just such an inspiring person to me. Just the way he went about living his life and how he connected with others. Because I look at myself as a big, you know, community-oriented person, and he was able to have conversations with anyone and everyone and eat at any different place. He wasn't, you know, this kind of stickler for anything either. He was just himself, and that's someone who I look up to, who I kind of want to, model in a way with certain aspects of my life. Of course, he was struggling with depression, and it was sad to see him go. But he was one of the people that I admired the most, and yeah. So everyone from people like that, like David Chang, is a big one as well, and just his journey, actually, you know, with him being a Korean person struggling growing up in South Carolina, that really actually was one of the kind of pushes to tell my own story. And yeah, it's pretty incredible. And yeah, other than that, like, I'm sure there's a lot of tech people and startup people that I really look up to. I just can't think of specific ones, but you know, Tim Ferriss is one that I love to, you know, I love listening to his podcast. He's really into these various nuances within, you know, everything from you know, mushrooms and things like that, like mushroom therapy, and like how that can kind of integrate with into kind of the tech and startup stories, basically. So yeah, not a good answer. You put me on the spot, but yeah, those are the ones I could come up with on the spot.
Pretty good answer, my friend. You know, those are real inspiration figures, and yeah, I might have goosebumps, you know, hearing you, you know, relating to those inspirational figures, and of course, they are some of my inspiration heroes as well. So I think we share so many more things in common already. Before we let you go, we definitely want to do a rapid fire round. I'm going to put you in a spot right again, one more time, one last time before you go. So rules are pretty simple. Yeah, just keep your response short and pithy, maybe maximum 1 or 2 sentences. So are you ready?
I guess so. Yes, I'm ready.
Let's go. What are your proudest life moments?
Proudest life moments. That's a good question. I think for me, I getting on the top 40 under 40 here in Vancouver was great because I was nominated by my peers. That was incredible. And being a part of this vibrant community has been incredible, and being a part of building that future. And it's been really exciting to be a part of. So yeah, I'll keep that short.
What do you want doing less of in the rest of 2021?
2021, I've got to stop taking so many meetings and really start to kind of think about balance. Balance is something that I really focus on, but I need to do more of that. And then a focus would be to really kind of supercharge what we're doing at Shape, and helping the community burgeon even more. So that's something I want to do. I want to do more writing as well.
Your advice for startups in AR and the VR realm when it comes to fundraising, or tips or advice for them?
Find out your product market fit and understand who you're talking to. Really get to know who they are and really understand how you could connect with them and your product.
Any future ambitions or side projects in the pipeline?
I've got way too many side projects in the pipeline, but I think really it's about focusing. I'm doing a lot of new advisory type of roles right now, helping a company called Immersive Tech, actually, and they're doing these shipping container multiplayer experiences to be shipped anywhere around the world. So I'm really excited about that side project. I think I want to do some events as well. There's this pent up demand, and what I love to do is bring people together. So whether it be in the VR, AR industry, the tech industry, or just among friends, I love, curating incredible experiences.
How can people reach you?
You can hit me up on Twitter, Burgar, as well as on Instagram. And then I'm on LinkedIn as well. So feel free to reach me there. Oh, and my email address is dan@shapeimmersive.com.
All right. And we just stick your link tree as well, where they can connect with you in all these social platforms too. So thank you so much for coming on to this show and keeping me company for 40 minutes and more. So any last words or message for our listeners who are replaying this podcast on your AirPods or smart speakers later on?
I just want to thank you for giving me the time to be on your show. This was incredible. I had such a fun time. And thanks for all that are tuning in. And
I super appreciate you, my friend. I hope to meet you in real life. Hopefully when I come over to Vancouver to visit your community and do an in real life interview with you next time instead of right here, on our virtual podcasting studio. So till then, please keep yourself safe. Take care of everybody over there. I'll see you very soon, my friend.
See you later. Thank you again. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye. And that's Dan Burgar. You can watch this replay on our YouTube, LinkedIn, or wherever you get to consume our content, as well as all the places where you get your podcast. So I'm gonna maybe take a 20 minutes break and then catch the semifinal of Euro 2020, Spain versus Italy. So that's gonna be really exciting. And I'll be back tomorrow with more PodFest Asia Metaverse. So till then, see you. Bye bye.